And we're back. Morning Seder. Ian, Lulav, hagazul, shiur number 3, technically, including the intro that we did in year 84, back in 84. But now we're in 85. Torah Shabbat Peh, year Torah Shabbat Peh. Now, welcome. We're learning the schus of Am Yisrael, the schus of humanity, and the schus of what? Oh yeah, it's October 7th today, and it stinks. It's in the schus of all of the people. This is the Limin Yanam. According to the Goyish calendar, this has been a year since that.
But it's really Simchas Torah on the Hebrew calendar.
Right, it's Shmini Atzeres. And but today is the day according to the solar calendar. And so we ask Hashem if He could please help destroy all our enemies and help us learn, It says that the Beis HaMikdash, first it says Deya. Deya, knowledge, is so great. Why? Because it says El Deos Hashem. And it says it's between two names of Hashem. So we see that knowledge, Deya, is really good. It says the Gemara, also Beis HaMikdash. Right? Mikdash Adonai Pa'alta Hashem or something, right? So it's between two names of Hashem. So the Beis HaMikdash is so great. It says the Gemara, wait a second. But if that's the case, that anything between two names of Hashem is so great, so then also revenge is so great, right? El Nikomos Hashem, that God answers the Gemara, yeah, at the right time, revenge is great. Taking down our enemies, murdering these heathens, these animals that cause a desecration of Hashem's name. So here too, Nikama is great. And we should be Zoche to a Kiddush Hashem Gamor.
So it's not our personal revenge against enemies.
Right.
It's we're doing Hashem.
Right. El Nikamos Hashem. Exactly. Very good point. Okay, so we should have Siyata D'Shmaya to continue being able to learn. That's what we need the most, Siyata D'Shmaya. When Yidden are misorer to come together and learn Torah, you know who that really bothers? The disgusting Yetzer Hara. The vile Yetzer Hara. So what do we do when we meet the Yetzer Hara? Bring him to the base medrash. We say, come.
And we make him shakshuka.
Yeah, make him shakshuka,
But it's also important not just to shteig Torah, but to dance with Torah.
That's true.
So you're talking about all the different types of Jews. There are the ones who do the mitzvah.
Right. So we learned something very interesting about the 4 types of the Lulav, Hadassim, Aravos, and Esrog are comparable to 4 different types of Yids, right? And so the Esrog is the guy who does Torah and mitzvos. The Lulav is only Torah, no mitzvos. The Hadassim is only mitzvos, no Torah. And the Aravos is none, not Torah, not mitzvos. And what happens? We bring them together and we make them dance together. And when Am Yisrael is together, all different types of Am Yisrael, that will be the Gula. Shalom, Chayom Even Sugya over here. Okay, so we're starting the Gemara. We did the Mishnah yesterday and we're back. Resuming the live video. Okay. Kapasik Vitani. It means that they just kind of taught it in the Brisa. They didn't give any caveat, didn't explain it, taught it in the Mishnah.
But they just left this hanging, I mean?
Yeah, they just kind of kapasik. We have to see what kapasik. Kapasik would be they just kind of stopped from the last Mishnah of the last parak, which is Kol Shivas Yav Adam Osa Sukkah Kevav Beso Arai. All the 7 days, a person makes his sukkah his main place, and his house is kind of temporary. Yardu Geshamim, if the rain.
This is the former Mishnah?
This is the last Mishnah in the last parak. So I'm thinking that maybe it's on Chav Ches Amar Aleph, Amar Beis. I'm thinking Pasik Vitani, So, the Beis, all right, Yardu Geshavim, it starts raining. Me'ema say mutter lifanos. Why does it mutter to leave the sukkah? Mitzvah deoraisa, chiv deoraisa, but if it starts raining and it's not comfortable for a person, he's allowed to go inside. Misha dizrach hamakefa, when it starts stinking, like the schach, I guess. Mishal mashlo madaradom. I'll give you, like, what's this example when it rains on Yantiv?
Mishlo mushroom, like we're going to give you a mushroom?
Yeah. Eved Shabal Limzog Lurabo, right? He coming, like the slave is coming to pour for his master some like water, drink, or whatever, wine, and he throws it in his face. Shovech lo kiton al panav. So like we're trying to go do mitzvahs for Hashem, sit in the sukkah, and Hashem starts it raining. But what is interesting? I have a lyric about this. I say, keep a putter from its stire, a sukkah. I'm a snake, my venom's happiness, which gather will I pour raise next. Okay, the second part we can analyze another time. But I say kippah is putter from its stire. When you're going like, in school, right, and say someone doesn't want to wear a kippah, it bothers him when he's, right? So I say, well, if a kippah bothers you, so you're putter for wearing it. Just like we see, because kippah is a minhag, right? Sukkah, which is a mitzvah deoraisa, if it's mitzvah, if it's raining and it's bothering him, he's putter from the mitzvah deoraisa. Kippah, which is a minhag, not...
I know what's
a slow
You're on the
connect.
wrong Wi-Fi.
Madnazach?
I'll have a hot technician come this week.
All right, everything's G. The ikr we say is for the people that are learning with us, and like we're just doing hiddur mitzvah to like get this out to anyone who wants to watch. Ooh, a cat. Okay.
If it keeps me on, I'm taking him outside.
Kapazik vitani.
So, in regards to the last mission of this thing,
I think it's they taught. So I don't know. We have to see what Rashi says about the kapasik vitani.
okay, please, yeah.
But we're at the right time. Lo shna biyom tov rishon, v'lo shna biyom tov sheni. It doesn't matter if we're talking about the first day of Yantif or the second day of Yantif, right? Now,
The second day they mean the last
second day of
day?
Yantif, last day, yeah.
Yeah.
Right, it's obviously not talking about Yantif Sheni.
Americans will think we're talking about...
Yeah, chutnikim. No, we're learning Beitzah now. We're learning about second day Yantif, but no, it's talking about on a deraisa level. But it doesn't matter first day or second day. Now, what might be the difference? When the Rambam starts Hilchos, Shofar, Sukkah, and Lulav, he combines Shofar, Sukkah, and Lulav, which is a question we have in the Rambam. Boker Tov Girum. He says that the mitzvah deoraisa is to take Lulav every day in the Beis HaMikdash. That's the mitzvah deoraisa, implying that there's not a mitzvah deoraisa outside the Beis HaMikdash, even on the first day. Right? But what we seem to, like the Gemara here seems to be saying that there is a difference inherently between the first day and the last days.
They just said Lo Shana B'Yom...
Oh, so the Gemara, you're saying the Gemara is saying that there's no difference. That's what the Gemara's talking about. Like maybe like the Rambam. Okay. Okay, good point.
Oh, yeah, I'm just trying to get it...
No, it's a good Nakuda. Lo Shana, right? The Chora, there's no difference between first day and second day Yantif. Bishlema Yavesh, I understand Yavesh, Hadar Ba'inon Veleka. A question on Rashi, question on the Rambam, right? We're talking about Hadar. Rashi says it's didn't by the Lulav, right? Because it's not Ma'akev. And here the Gemara is saying the Lulav, we have to have a beautiful Lulav, right? Just like every mitzvah, we have to do it beautifully. Beautiful talis, beautiful Torah.
As best as our needs allow.
As best as we can. But if you can't do it beautifully,
If we can't afford 2 candles, we get one really nice one.
right. So if you can't do it beautifully, so l'chora, still kosher, like you can't get the best esrog down, but you can still get a kosher esrog. By lulav and by the 4 minim, it might be that you can't even fulfill it if it's not beautiful. It might be that if it's yavesh, if it's dry, then it's not even an acceptable thing to fulfill the mitzvah with. And the reason that this is because by esrog, he calls it a prietz hadar, a beautiful tree. So you don't have the regular ze'eli v'yanveu, which is like, yeah, do it, get nice tzitzis, you know? But if you can't get the nice tzitzis, okay, just get any kosher tzitzis. But here it might be something which is me'akev. The word ma'akiv means it prevents you from actually fulfilling the mitzvah in the first place. Right? So you need hadar. You need this beautiful pre-eitz hadar, veleka, and you don't have it. So that would apply for first day and second day, I guess. Veleka ela gazol, but if it's stolen, we talk about a stolen lulav that's pasul. Bishleima biyom tov rishon, I understand on the first day of Yantiv, dichsiv lachem, mishalachem. On the first day of Yantiv, it says, v'lakachtem lachem. Right? And you took for yourself. On the first day, and so you take the nice, the it lists all 4 species. So it says, dichsiv lachem, mishalachem, from you, ela biyom tov sheni amaylo. But what about on Yom Tov Sheni that it's not? So here we see a difference between the first day and the rest of the days. It's actually in the pasuk, right? V'lakachtem lachem b'yom, right? That's the difference.
But I'm saying the person...
They actually have to make an acquisition.
And then it has to be transferred back?
Yeah, they have to make the acquisition back, yeah. Because it has to be yours. It has to be yours. That's why you can't use something that you stole.
It wouldn't be... Okay, go ahead.
Right? And even if you stole it, so it's not yours. What if the guy gives up hope and then maybe it becomes yours? Can you use
But
it?
if somebody lends it to you, technically you didn't transfer title.
No. If he lends it to you, you can't use it on the first day.
Okay.
Maybe if it's the second days and it's like outside the Beis HaMikdash, and we see that it's not really a deoraisa, and you just have to do it so that we don't forget how to do lulavs like when we go back, right? There is an Indian like that like if you have like maybe a play or a dry lulav, maybe like you can take it anyways, because we see that these people in Lamed, we see that this Gemara over here, Rabbi Yehuda says, is that you can use a dry lulav because he tells a story, and the story is that the Hicks, the hillbillies, the ones who lived outside of the city, Beverly Hillbillies, or Babylonian hillbillies, the Babylon hillbillies. So they would give their lulav as a yerusha, as inheritance to their kids and to their grandkids. Now that's definitely dry, right? So there's 2 ways to understand this. One way is that, no, you can do it with a dry lulav in a hard time. You can actually use a dry lulav. And the other way of understanding it is, no, they're just doing it to practice, not to forget, but they don't actually make a bracha on it. They're not actually yoked. They don't actually fulfill. Okay, but when it's stolen, I understand why you can't use stolen on the first day, because it says you need to use from yours. But on the second day, what's the problem? Amaylo. Why not? Rabbi Yochanan Mishum Rabbi Shimon bar ben Yochai. Rabbi Shimon bar Yochai. Ay. Rabbi Shimon bar Yochai. Ay. That's Rabbi Shimon bar Yochai's song. So Rabbi Yochanan says, name Shimon bar Yochai. Mishum dehavale mitzvah haba be'avera. Har. We spoke about this yesterday. We suggested it. Shalom Yonatan Sklar. We're learning about mitzvah ba'avera right now. So mitzvah ba'avera is that, even though technically, right, you don't need on the second day your own lulav. You can borrow someone's lulav. You can even take someone else's lulav. And what's the big deal? Okay, it doesn't say that you need to take lachem, your lulav. So okay. So then why wouldn't you be allowed to take the lulav on the second day when you don't have this gezeras hakasov, this declaration from the verse itself that you need to have your own specific lulav? Talking about lachem mishalachem, that has to be from yours. And says the Gemara, why can't you do it on the second day? Lulav hagazul, first line of Lamed Amud Aleph. Mishum dahavale mitzvah ba'avera, like we suggested yesterday, like we thought about maybe, right? Because if there's no din of lachem on the second day, so then what's the problem if you steal the lulav? Because the mitzvah can't come from an avera. This is a very deep philosophical concept, right? Is that we're trying to do mitzvahs, but you can't do an aveira in order to do the mitzvah. This is a big shas sugya.
If you want to give a guy a ride, so you steal someone's car to give him a ride. It's like,
Right.
it doesn't work there. It's not a nice thing.
But what if proportionally the Avera was minute and the mitzvah was El Grande?
We don't know what minute is and not minute. It says, be careful with mitzvah kala kebechamura, because you don't know what's big and what's small. Right?
The smallest thing, like even like taking a bird off a tree and taking an egg, could be like bigger than.
Yeah, we don't know what's considered a big mitzvah because
Well, that's separating a mother from a child. That's
I'm just giving you an example of something in the eyes of human we would think we're desensitized, not such a big deal compared to big deal. I'm just giving.
we don't
a
know.
hypothetical example.
We don't know.
The scales.
We don't know
There's no ranking of
because also it could be that some big rabbi whose whole life brought up from he goes and puts on tefillin. It's a big mitzvah tefillin, but then if a yid who doesn't and he overcomes and it's not part of his daily.
Hashem judges
Exactly. So there's no such thing. It's it's just a mitzvah tefillin. It could be for this yid. It's change. It's life changing everything. And so, we don't do a mitzvah that comes because of an avera. However, if the mitzvah and the avera come at the same time, very often the mitzvah will blow away the avera. It will push it away.
You're driving on Shabbos to take someone to the hospital.
Right, pikuach nefesh, or how about this? A person has a beautiful linen four-cornered garment, right? And so he wants to put the tzitzis on the four-cornered garment so that he can wear it. But the tzitzis strings are wool. So you can't wear wool linen.
No shot in his hair.
But on tzitzis, we say that the positive commandment is doche, pushes away the negative commandment, and you can wear chatnis on tzitzis. Right? We learned about this also in Beitza.
And isn't it the Kohen Hagadol's garment on the shatnez?
So calling same thing, because the mitzvah to wear it. And so asay doche lo taseh. Okay, but here we have mitzvah ba'avera. It's a mitzvah that comes from the avera. How did you get to do the lulav? You stole it. So it's no good. Shenemar vehevdesim gazul be'ez hapiseach be'ez hachola. It's talking. This is a pasuk in Malachi, the last navi, the last prophet, and he says, "You guys bring it stolen, or the limp." Piseach. Ve'ez hachola, or sick. So those are the types of korbanos that they're bringing. Hashem was like, what's going on over here? Gazol dumia de piseach. Stolen is similar to, I don't want to say limping,
invalid.
Invalid, no.
What is a limp? What is the limp that we learned gozo from? What's the
Piseach? Well, it's a pasuk. Piseach. It's interesting. It kind of means that God skipped over, passed over. So the limp kind of he doesn't step on that one foot. He kind of passes it over by putting pressure on it. Maybe that's the pshat. But it's a psul in the korban, l'chayra. It's an invalidation of the sacrifice, ostensibly. So,
I just want to know, at what point do we go back and go for the Rashis and stuff?
we get to a point to stop. Okay. You gotta figure it out.
I'm still trying to build up the steps here, so I'm with you.
All right, so we'll know when it's the time.
I trust you.
So, V'ezim gazul v'yasa piseach v'yasa chola. Gazul domet piseach ma piseach leis takanta. Just like a cripple has no way to save it. I mean, that's not true about our resident cripple. He's going to be healthy in no time.
Physical therapy tomorrow.
Starts physical therapy tomorrow. Nice. Af gazul leis lo takanta. So also something that's stolen, you can't fix it. Lo shna lifnei yesh, lo shna la'achar yesh. I mean, it doesn't even matter if you acquire it. Yesh, you might know Yesh from Rabbi Nachman. Do you know the song? Yesh, ain't shum Yesh ba'olam. that could make you be allowed to take a stolen lulav. Doesn't matter if there is yesh. So what's the yesh here? Yesh is giving up. There's no giving up, says Rabbi Nachman. But there's a concept, giving up. There's a concept, if you lose something, right, or something stolen from you, and you lose it, and so then you give up hope, so then the other person can actually acquire it, and it will be his lulav. Great, it's shalachem, you should be able to take it. No, because it's a mitzvah of avera. So even if he does technically acquire the lulav, still, it's mitzvah of avera. It's a mitzvah that comes from the avera, and you can't do it. You cannot acquire. You cannot fulfill this mitzvah of lulav. Bishlema. We keep on seeing these bishlemas. Bishlema means I understand. Bishlema. It's like shalom, Lashon shalom. Like it's peaceful when you say, it makes sense.
It settles well. Huh?
Yeah, like it stems. Yeah. Bishlema, like when it's all shalom. You say such a thing, it's all shalom. Bishlema. Lifnei yeyosh, before yeyosh, adam ki yakriv michem. Talking about the korban. Here also, korban can't be a stolen korban. You can't steal a korban and bring it. So, I understand before yeyosh that you can't bring the korban because it says adam ki yakriv mikem, from you. So it has to be our korban. In the same way that it says over here lachem, that you take for you, meaning it's got to be from your own property. So too by a korban. You can't borrow a korban and bring it. You have to bring the korban that you own.
It's interesting when lachem on mikem.
V'lakachtem lachem. And this one is kiyakriv michem. Nice. Amar Achmana says, the merciful Torah, Lulav didehu, right? The Torah says, it says that you have to bring from yourself, and this is not his. You can't steal a korban. If it's before the guy gave up hope that he's ever going to get that animal back, and it's before Yesh, and so therefore it's not his, he never acquired it, I could understand why you couldn't bring that as a korban. Ella, la'achar yesh, but after the guy already gave up hope, hakani aviyesh, he acquired this animal that he stole with the yesh, with the guy's despair. So then why shouldn't he be allowed to bring it as a korban? It's no problem, it's his. Kinyan Gamor. El Lulav, rather is it not mishum because of the havale, because it is mitzvah of avera, because it's the mitzvah of bringing the korban that comes from the avera of stealing the other guy's property. So we can't do mitzvahs abaz averas.
So what they're saying, it's not because of her, they're saying no, it's because of mitzvah about the
It's because of mitzvah of avera. Before Yesh, the reason is that the Bible says it has to be yours, it has to be michem. After Yesh, it is yours. Still can't bring it because you acquired it through a forbidden means.
It's not because of this yesh.
El Lulav, it's like, rather isn't it?
Yeah, okay.
El Lulav, rather isn't it mishum mitzvah avera? Because of mitzvah avera. Because we could have no other reason to forbid a guy to bring a korban that he stole and acquired with the despair of the previous owner. Why couldn't he bring the korban? It's his. It's a mitzvah that comes from an avera.
But in a certain
It gets stolen. The guy gave up hope, yes, but it's still stolen.
He still acquired it through illicit means.
You can't whiten the sin.
Not Ben Adam Chavera, not like that. All right, mitzvah avera.
so technically, no yid should ever give up hope, and he's always the original owner, even if it's not in his physical possession.
This is why Hashem says Anochi, Anochi twice in Haftorah when he brings Klal Yisrael out of the exile, because it's like a double thing. If a man slanders his wife and kicks her out of the house and says she's slept with other men, and then he's not allowed to take her back. But if it turns out to be false or whatever, he takes her back. He's got to give her a double ketuvah for the slander, like a doubling. Because so Hashem calls Klal Yisrael the Virgin of Israel in the Tanakh, and the fact that he takes us back in the future, he says Anochi twice to show that there was no yesh, like we never gave up hope, like that's why we come back.
This is the future.
We came back because we never gave up hope that we were a lost nation. Like,
we never gave up hope on ourselves, and we never gave up hope on the 12 lost tribes, 10 lost tribes. No yesh.
No yesh, Shafzi. Klal Yisrael doesn't go back.
Ain't shum yesh, ain't shum yesh. You know that song? Ain't shum yesh ba'olam.
Maybe at the end of the shiur I'll play.
Mitzvah gedai la'aliyais b'simcha, aliyais b'simcha,
I know the Motown tunes.
It's good. The Amar Rabbi Yochanan Mishum Rashbi. Rabbi Yochanan says the name of Rashbi. My dichsev. What does it mean in the pasuk? Ki ani Hashem ohev mishpat sona gezel be'avla or be'ola. And the Gemara is going to say a mashal, and they're going to darshan this pasuk before we see this pasuk. Which, by the way, this is a pasuk that's said by Rabbi Yochanan in the name of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, which is who said this current statement as well. That's why it says ve'amar, because it's another statement that he said, and it's another statement that I think it's shaykh, but let's see Rashi up until this point. Okay, kapasik vitani. We were saying, like, what is it talking about? It says puzzle. So kapasik vitani is just paskins. Kapasik vitani. It's just paskins, it's puzzle. Back in the Rashi, in the Gemara. So Rashi says that what does it mean kapasik vitani? Because it just says puzzle. It doesn't give us any caveats, any hagdaros, it's puzzle, it's in this case, in that case. So since it says puzzle, it implies, doesn't matter first day, doesn't matter second day. But wait, right? Rashi says, but wait a second, the Rambam didn't make this distinction. The Rambam, Rashi seems to make a distinction. For the Gemara seems to make a distinction that between the first days and the second days. The Rambam seems to make a distinction between whether it's in the Beis Hamikdash or whether it's not. But how does the Rambam say that it's not a mitzvah? He means in the Beis Hamikdash. He doesn't mean, right? It doesn't mean like every single person takes it for themselves. So Loshna Yodov Sheni, the Leizan Etilas Lulav El Midirabanan. You'd be Yom Rishon because it says on the first day, right?
They're saying it would seem to be this way.
This is what Rashi says. That on the first.
This is what the Gemara is seeming to say.
The pasuk, the pasuk says L'chachtem lachem b'yom rishon.
No, but he's saying we would think just because they just said puzzle is no different on the first or second day.
Right, that's the havamina. Lo shnei yom tov rishon, lo shnei yom sheni. And by the way, that is the case. It doesn't matter. So the Gemara says, okay, I understand. Right? Whereas this Bishlema Yavesh, I understand why it would be a problem on all the days if a yid is going to go and take dry lulav, because you need hadar, and we don't have hadar. Right? We need a nice lulav.
Best we can afford.
Best we can afford. But if it's dry, that's the question. Is it, if it's dry, can you do it in a shasad chak, in like a tough time when you can't acquire any other one? Rashi and the Rambam we learned yesterday seem to imply that you can, only specifically by lulav, because of that story that we learned earlier when Harry went to go like take out the cat or something. Remember the story, like the Eidos of Rabbi Yehuda? Okay. So, but Gazul, it's stolen, I understand, on the first day, because it says in the verse that you need to take from yourself, like Chachtem Lachem, and you took from yourself, Mishalachem. Ella. But on Yom Sheni, what's the problem with a stolen lulav? You don't have the pasuk telling me that you need to take it from yours. So Amaylo Meichadesi Lemivzale. Meichadesi, I love Meichadesi. Meichadesi means where are you getting that from? Meicha, from where? Tasty, are you bringing that? That should be puzzle, because you don't need it to be lachem. And it's the Gemara Mishum Dahavale Mitzvah Ba'avera, because the mitzvah that comes from Avera. Do the shas here?
I have all of art schools.
I read shas. I want to go to brachos.
I could bring you a Gemara.
talks about, okay, fine.
Do you know a pair?
Daf Mem Zayin on base, please. All right, Shkayach. I mean, okay, fine. So, Shenemar ve'evesem gazul v'yasa piseach v'yasa chola. So gazul dumia de piseach, ma piseach, the guy who's limping. So we say Shenemar ve'evesem gazul. That's how we know. So how do we know that a mitzvah that comes from an avera is puzzle? You don't fulfill the mitzvah. How do we know?
Because the mitzvah can only follow another mitzvah, not an avera.
You say mitzvah gura is mitzvah. That's a good point. In this case, there has to be a verse that talks about, like, it compares stolen to a mum, to an animal that has a blemish that you can't bring as a korban, right? So since it compares stolen to blemish, so we see that the reason is because you can't do a mitzvah after you steal it. Because I could understand if it's before the guy gave up hope, but after the guy gave up hope and it's actually his animal now, says the Gemara, you still can't bring it. The only reason that we can ascertain, that we can conclude, is that because the mitzvah that comes from an avera. We don't actually need that Gemara in Bracha. Okay, but it's good that we have it. But there's a Tosfos here. I don't want to get to it yet. So now the Abba Rabbi Yochanan Mishum Rabbi Shem Bar Yochai. Rabbi Yochanan says in the name of Rabbi Shem Bar Yochai. Well, we'll wait for Harry to go veiter on that Nakuda. Let's see if there is a little Marsha. Should I go to Marsha? It's because we love the Marsha. I'm not going to do it. The Marsha, it's not time yet for the Marsha. Let's see if there is one. Okay. There is one. We're going to see it after Tosfos, maybe. Shalom Rabbi H. We don't need the Gemara Brachos. I mean, we do. It's good that we have it. It does quote the Gemara Brachos over here about mitzvah b'avera. While we're doing mitzvah b'avera sugya, I want to see that tasteless. Mishum dahavale mitzvah b'avera. So the reason that and the way we learned mitzvah b'avera was from korban. Same idea that we say that you can't take. It says it in Malachi, in Nevi'im. It says that you cannot take a stolen lulav a stolen korban or a blemished animal as a korban. You can't take a stolen animal or a blemished animal. Says the Gemara, I understand why you can't take the stolen animal before the original owner was despaired, because then it's not your animal to bring as a korban. But after he despaired, why does the Navi tell us that we can't bring the korban even after he gave up hope? It must be that this idea of mitzvah b'avera is an idea that comes to us from the Nevi'im, from Malachi, the last Navi. Okay, so I kind of do want to see Tosfos. Let's see Tosfos. And then we'll go veiter in the Gemara. And Mishum dahavale mitzvah b'avera. Because it is a mitzvah that comes from an avera. We're going to go deeper into that sugya. Tosfos, the top Tosfos. Lamed.
Oh, we're skipping over these guys for now.
Yeah, we have to like every
No,
Tosfos.
no, it's not that. It's a little different shiur.
Yeah, listen, every Tosfos, like, everything at the right time. But today, like in this shiur, we're just seeing some Tosfos and some things, and we're going to Eibush will give us the Yad Shmaya to know like where to go. So this is just such a beautiful sugya, mitzvah b'avera. It's such an interesting concept. It's like it's deep that like mitzvahs are not just like, oh, just do it, and like, you know, like it's like, oh, you put a coin in the payphone and then you pull it out, you attach it to a string, to a piece of dental floss, and you put the coin in, make the call, pull it out, right? You're not just putting a coin into a payphone here. It's like but I took the lulav and it was my lulav. It doesn't matter, you stole the lulav, right? It's about everything that surrounds the SCS mitzvah also.
It's crazy though, because you can't even borrow a lulav.
Can't even borrow lulav on the first day. You can't borrow lulav on the first day.
And we still say it has nothing to do with lachem, and it's just mitzvah b'avera.
That's the second day.
First day,
Right? The first day, the problem is lachem if you steal it. Second day, even if you acquire it, the problem is mitzvah b'avera. So now we're going to see taste fits. We're going to go. Rashi, very often, he explains what our Gemara is trying to say. It's hard to understand. Tosfos is like a bunch of scholars. Some of them were Rashi's grandchildren, students of Rashi. But they have a lot of like questions on them. You know, if we think of Tosfos and Rashi, they're both ancient people. But there's probably like, when you're living in the times, like Rashi's grandkids are like, what, Rashi? You know. But let's see, Tosfos is, a lot of times he goes and he looks at a topic in Shas. Like a Tosfos that talks about the concept of mitzvah
But
b'avera.
Rashi would have it no other way than to have his grandkids challenge him.
And sometimes we saw sometimes Tosfos, yesterday we saw the cold question of Tosfos, Rashi like answered like the entire thing with like one word or like one thing that he says. Rashi, so one of Tosfos' grandchildren, Rabbeinu Tam, or the Rashbam, who we saw when we did Bava Basra, the Rashbam says if Rashi didn't write his Perush on Gemara, I could have written Rashi's Perush on Gemara. But if Rashi didn't write his Perush on Torah, no one could have done it except for Rashi. Rashi on the Chumash is the deepest of the things. It's mind-boggling. Okay, so now we're going to see Tosfos talking about mitzvah b'avera. Mishum da'avah mitzvah b'avera. Asks Tosfos a question, Vaha Ditanya, not necessarily a question, Vaha Ditanya is an explanation. It does as Vaha Tanya, that it means like, oh, it doesn't say in a brisa. Vaha Ditanya means, and that which it says in a brisa. Lekaman, later, Perak Lulav Rava on page 43a. We're on page 30a right now. So it says later, Lachem.
different parak already?
Mm-hmm. Lachem, Mishalachem. And so the diak of lachem mishalachem is lehodzi as a shoal. You can't borrow it. Telling us that you can't borrow it. That's what it's coming to. That's what it's coming to. You know, lemait. Coming to exclude. It says it has to be your lulav, and it's coming to exclude a borrowed lulav. Ve'ez hagazul and a stolen lulav. Mishum. Shoal, it's dericha. We needed it because of we teach it the bar that you can't use a borrowed lulav. The beloved lachem nafkalan gazul mishum mitzvah b'avera. So even if it didn't say that you had to take a lulav that's your lulav mamish, right? Even if it didn't say that you have to take a lachem. Still, I would know that you can't steal a lulav.
That was just my question I basically said before.
Right. Yeah. You would know that you can't steal a lulav because it's a mitzvah of avera, even if it didn't have to be
He's
yours.
saying we don't need lachem to teach us first day. He's saying
Teach us, right, we don't need lachem to teach us not to have a stolen lulav.
all
We
we need
really
is about
just-
borrowing. on
About
the first
borrowing,
day.
exactly.
But lachem has nothing to do with stolen on day one because
Very
it's
chashuv
about
yid.
avera.
Yeah. Very chashuv yid and shiur. Aminadav Lasker. Shalom. He's the son of Rabbi Lasker who taught me Lulav hagazul when I was a chispin. And I remember he gave shiur. And it was an unbelievable shiur. And his son is in shiur with us right now. Full circle. Baruch Hashem. Shalom, Aminadav. It's great to see you. He's like long gone probably. But it's okay. Because at least he clicked on it so it counts. Shalom, everybody. Okay. Mishum Gazol it's the Richa. The love lachem nafkalan Gazol. Mishum it's avavera. The Aval Gav, even though the Kra Gabe Korban say that the Pasuk.
Wait, where did we translate the lav lachem nafkalan? Gazal mishum.
The love, yeah, we did. Because even without the Pasuk, because there is a custom of Lachem that it has to be yours, right?
Oh, yeah. We don't need that principle?
We would, yeah, Nafkalan, we would get it anyways from, that we'd learn Gazal's Azir because of mitzvah of Avera, mitzvah that comes from the Avera. The Avagav Dekra Gabe Korban Ksiv, even though the Pasuk is talking about the Korban, right? Hu Adin B'chol mitzvos dehavi deoraisa. This is the thing. All mitzvahs deoraisa. You can't do a mitzvah that comes from the avera.
He's saying mitzvah b'avera was really taught regarding a carbon, but we learned it out for everything else.
Yeah, it's for everything deoraisa. Kidemuchach b'reisha gozel kama. Like we learned at the beginning of Perek Gozel Kama. What's Perek Gozel Kama? It's Perek and Bava Kama. There are two Perek. Start off hagazul. This is the first one. Gabe hare shegazal sa shel chitin. Talking about some guy who stole a certain amount of chitin, of wheat. V'techana ve'afa. And what did he do? He grinded it up and he cooked it up.
There's some Chef Zalman activities.
There's some Chef Zalman activities, you know? And so, by the way, I would love to learn how to bake. My mom never taught me how to bake, but hopefully Chef Zalman will at the right time. And we'll do it together. It would be great. So we're learning about it now. Came with us, they do, we got to bake. Okay. So the guy stole some wheat, right? Grinded it, baked it. And then he's like, oh, let me take challah. Let me give.
Can't do that. Can't make a motzah either.
Can't make a motzah. Can't even make a bracha. You're saying, that's right. That's what the Gemara is about to say. That's what I was about to say. He says, "The ein zeh mevarich el midnight." Right? This isn't blessing God. This is midnight. It's unbelievable that all the enemies of Klal Yisrael somehow choose words that in Lashon HaKodesh mean like bad things. Nazis, right? It's not bracha to Hashem. It's a Nazi. It's midnight. It's like taunting or whatever. It's making him angry. It's not making him blessed. Ein zeh mevarich el midnight. We know we also have Hamas.
Yeah, in the pasuk in
all over the
first of all
place.
Noah, PASHUT Noah.
Yeah, no, Hamas took it all over the place. I can't open up a Chumash without seeing like Hamas, And like, yeah, Hamas took it. And what about Hezbollah? Zevel, garbage. Chai Zevel, it's living garbage, Hezbollah. Right. And the Houthim is Chet. Crazy. Right. Ve'im Taimar, I tell you no. Tosfos is about to ask a question. Rashi sometimes can answer Tosfos' question with like an extra letter. Like, wait, Rashi write this letter, like this word with that extra letter. Oh, he's answering Tosfos' whole question. Tosfos, he goes, Ve'im Tomar.
So if they saw that letter, why would they even ask that particular question?
Then maybe their answer is different. Rashi answers the question, Tosfos answers the question, maybe they give different answers. V'im Tomar, and if you're gonna say, we'll see inside, hopefully we'll enter this chaz soon, to see like Rashi, like a diuk in Rashi, like an inference in Rashi that he's answering
what
questions.
What I'm saying is if Tosfos was 2 generations later, they're gonna really scrutinize everything Rashi said.
Yeah.
And to the nth degree before they challenge it.
Yeah, And Tosfos knows Rashi answers the question, but they have a different answer. It could be sometimes. But we're talking about hypothetical. Let's just see inside.
Okay.
Ve'im tomar, and if you're going to say, look, come on, later, it says, the paslina lulav shel hashera v'shel eridachas, that we say you can't take a stolen lulav. No, sorry. You can't take a lulav that was used for idolatry, or a lulav that was in a town, that rove of the town worship, the majority of the town worshipped idolatry. In which case, what do you do to the whole town? Burn it down to the ground. And so the reason that a lulav from that town you can't use mishum de michtat shiura, because it has no shiur, it has no measure. You know, take a
lacking shiur?
Yeah, well, it's burnt already. Something that's going to be burnt, like halachically, like you have to burn this lulav, so it's as if it's already burnt, and so it has no. It's not 4 tefachim long. It's 0.
Didn't we learn this way back when we were talking about towns with idolatry? And then if you just passed through, it was okay?
In the Maseches Avodah Zarah. Yo, Tushel Zalman over here. Nice. And we did learn about Herenstein together.
Ago, right?
That was Kama Masechtas ago. That was like years ago.
Very impressive.
Very impressive. So if you're going to say that the reason that it's puzzle is because it has no shiur, tepakle mishum mitzvah b'avera. Great question, Tosfos. Tosfos is saying, you're telling me that the reason you can't take the lulav from this town is because everything in this town has to be burnt. Tell me you can't take the lulav from this town because it is a mitzvah b'avera. You're doing a mitzvah. It's an avera to use something from that town. Right? Or it's an avera to use a lulav that was worshipped as an idol. You know?
No, like what's the...
You have to burn it. So you can't use it. So it should be...
He's saying even if there's no din of burning, he's saying there's something else going on over here.
I think there's a din of burning also on Asherah.
No, there happens to be, let's say, but he's saying it's nothing to do with the fact that it has a din of burning.
You don't have to come on to that.
Right, so what...
You could just say beforehand, mitzvah b'avera.
What's the avera?
Using the idolatrous...
I'm saying you can't get hana from something that from Avodah Zarah. Is that the avera?
Let's see.
The fact
I'm
that
trying to just pinpoint the exact avera.
Yeah, so it's good.
the fact of where it came from.
Well, yeah.
The avera with the thing, so I can't use it. It's saying I have to have done the avera with it. So if I didn't actually do the avera with the thing...
Right, so what's the avera? So it could
What's
be
the
that
avera?
taking a lulav, that, yeah, maybe
Yeah,
it'll start out. Yeah.
I don't know.
That's probably what it is. Good that we like talk that out. That's probably what it is.
I'm just seeking clarity.
Beautiful. Visu, and furthermore, Amai Sharira and the Lava Shera de Moshe. Why would they allow a certain idolatrous tree, but it's not an idolatrous tree of...
Averahs are very curious. This must be 2 different asheras.
Yeah, we have to see like what is the share of what is that exactly? We'll open it up.
Yeah. Just throwing out the questions.
Let's at the time of the Avera, the Gezel, the time that he's stealing this lulav, that's when the mitzvah comes. Sheyotzebo, because he's acquiring, he's fulfilling the mitzvah. At the time that he's fulfilling the mitzvah, he has stolen this lulav. Aval hani adu machmas avera shenasis bo minafikle. Harry, great question. Use the lulav that someone else did an avera with, right? So we were saying that maybe it's an asar hana, it's forbidden to get any benefit from it. Yeah, but mitzvahs lav lahenos nitnu. Mitzvahs were not given to us. Doesn't matter that it's asar hana. Still, you could use it maybe, because it's the mitzvah. You're not doing the mitzvah to get hana from it, to get benefit from it. You're doing the mitzvah. Oh, it feels so good in my hands to shake. Oh, I love the breeze when I shake the lulav back and forth. It doesn't matter. You're not getting hana from the lulav. So then,
How can you even identify that it was used for the previous avera?
no, let's say that was used for idolatry. So avahani adu machmas avera. Right? It's not that the only way that you're able to fulfill the mitzvah is by the avera. I stole this lulav, and the only way I'm able to do the mitzvah is because I stole the lulav. Here, it's like, okay, we have a tree, some random idolater just dove into it. What? So I'm not gonna be able to do the mitzvah? So the Gemara says it's not the reason that you can't use that lulav is not because of mitzvah bavera, but the reason you can't do that mitzvah is because the lulav has no measurement. It's as if it's already burned already. You're going to do lulav with this pile of ashes on the floor, like LeBron. LeBron is nodding. Okay. And LeBron is dressed like a woman. You seen that? Like the maid? Unbelievable. Unbelievable. We never liked LeBron anyways. We know that he was a Freemason. We didn't think he had good mitos. But now we see that he's dressed up like a maid and let Diddy Valley do what he wanted to him. And then some. But the question is, why does a guy like LeBron have to do that? He's the best basketball player. Why does he need that? It's such a... It doesn't make sense. He's like the best basketball player of all times. Why does he need to let Diddy do all of these crazy things, dress him up like a girl to get more fame?
Shows you even as big as you can get without real MS in your life, you still feel like your lowliness, you know.
Oh, so he was I
gotta still seek acceptance, and I want to be cool, and
I want to.
It's not enough that I'm cool for the regular people. I need to be cool for the people.
Yeah, I want to rub some ecstasy oil all over myself. Yeah, being with the in crowd. Okay, Umihu.
This is the in crowd.
That's exactly what I was thinking. Umihu yesh sfarim. There are sfarim. There are gemaras. The garsinan lekaman. So there. This was written 2,000 years ago by hand. Originally it was transferred orally, and then they started writing it down. But still, different people wrote that, and it could be that there's two different versions of.
They didn't really start writing down to the time of Rashi officially. That's why it's called the Kuntres. Yeah, I read a crazy history lesson. So even the Gemara and the Gaonim, they tried to keep it all oral. Otherwise, but
it was written down already. The Mishnah was written down at the time of Yehuda Nazi, and the Gemara was written down at the time of Ravina and Ravashi.
Different opinions. They say they redacted it, but not officially wrote it.
Bring it.
Yeah.
It's a big chiddush.
Yeah. The Jews, the rabbis didn't want to lose power. You don't we hold the thing.
I don't know.
I'll show you what I read. It was really great history, but yeah.
All right, we love history. Yeah. All right. So, anyways, Umiu, there is Sfarim that have the version that says as follows: Amas nisin de esrog shel Asherah. And the Mishnah talks about an esrog of this idolatry, right?
First of all, it comes to show you Asherah is not one thing.
Right. Asherah is any tree that was worshipped for idolatry.
Not one specific type of tree.
Not one specific type of tree. Correct. My daima, esrog, right? An esrog Asherah, right? My daima, what's the reason? Mishum da'avale mitzvah bavera. The reason that you can't do that esrog of Asherah is because mitzvah bavera. But wait a second, didn't we say that the reason you can't use an idolatrous lulav is because there's no shiur? Because kola omed lisrov, anything that is going to be burnt, kasarov damit, as if we already burnt it, and so it has. You need an esrog with 4 tefachim. How many tefachim is in this idolatrous esrog that we have to, or lulav? 0. Because we have to burn it, so it's as if it's burnt. But the Gemara, there is a version of the Gemara that says that the reason for Asherah, for esrog of Asherah, it really is because of mitzvah bavera.
Nothing to do with no shiur.
Right. The girsa mishubeshes, he says, Taste is not correct. Get it out of here.
Girsa mishubeshes. It's a wrong girsa?
Yeah, it's a shibush. It's a mistake. Ella Taima, rather, the reason is because Michta Shira, the Ezrog Nami by Shiur, because an Ezrog also has to have an amount, a size, right? You can't take an Ezrog
the size of a.
You can't take an Ezrog the size of a pea, and you can't take an Ezrog the size of a peel of an elephant. Actually, I don't know. Maybe you could. No. Maybe you could actually. I don't know. I just wanted to say that, wordplay. Yeah, but maybe there is no size. You could say it even. Yeah, but you can't pick it up if it's the size of an elephant. Maybe that's the problem. Because you can't shake, maybe.
Unless you're Goliath who does tshuva, or even they say Abraham and Moshe were giants.
Yeah. Listen, I think that you're definitely lying to us big time about giants, hidden giants from our history. And they also probably hid dragons from our history. And they invented this fake thing called dinosaurs, lo haya v'lo yeh. Or giants, we've seen like skeletons. We've seen even pictures from like 100 years ago of these 20 feet tall.
I have a pretty good direct source about the giant they found in Afghanistan. Just from the people there.
Tell us?
Yeah, the U.S. Army found a giant in Afghanistan, and it was a big cover-up conspiracy. But I spoke to people on the ground in Afghanistan, and they said, no, there's giants. There's giants. Giants hiding in caves because humans kill them all.
Why don't the giants just kill all the humans?
Eventually, the humans figured out how to throw weapons from afar, like King David. He didn't do close to.
Yeah, but what? Giants aren't smart, as smart as humans?
No. That's the thing. They're not.
But Moshe was giant.
No one ever
He
took a
was
giant
really
in the
smart.
Heiter and took him in. Moshe was nourished in the house of Paro. They taught him all the secrets of the universe. But giants aren't sitting in Heiter. They don't even have good language, perhaps.
I hear ya. Yeah, Moshe was afraid when he was going to fight. Og, because Og had this chus that he helped, even though he was trying to get Abraham killed so that he could have Sarah. But he still helped.
Oh, because he was the one who came in.
He was the one who told. Yeah, exactly. He was the one who told Abraham, and even that little chus from this giant was enough to make Moshe scared. But still, lav davka that he was so smart, So maybe the bigger you are, the dumber you are. I don't know. I know some pretty smart, tall people.
They say the bigger you are, the harder the heart has to work to get blood to all the parts of the body, and it takes away from the brain. There's different sheets out there. The taller you are, the shorter lifespan you have because of the amount of your heart. The amount of your heart has to work to get the blood around the body.
No, but yeah, I hear. So, yeah, we know those really tall people don't necessarily live so long.
But they're saying that the etrog needs
shiur. So the etrog needs the shiur.
Okay, what?
Etrog nami bazi shiur ke'egos o kebeitza. It has to be the size of a walnut or an egg.
It's pretty small, by the way.
But still, it means something.
Yeah.
And if it's an esrog that was worshipped for idolatry, then you know what the size of that esrog is? Goose egg. 0.
Yeah.
FS. Even though we say later, time of Mishom Delo Gomar, the reason is not complete when they're talking about the Ezra. Delo Gomar Peira, that it didn't complete the fruit is not completed. Mikomagom Ba'inan de Minkar Lekichasa. It has to be clear, it has to be noticeable that you took it. For this reason, it's possible. Maybe if it's not that sheer, if it's so small. Lekaman pilpulin. That's why peppers are also out of this all later. Umihu temu. However, there's a big question of Parakol Shah from this parak in Sanhedrin in Psachim Lamed Amud Aleph on base. The Dana ein yotzei yedei matzah b'teva. That you cannot fulfill the mitzvah of eating matzah with wheat that you did not take truma out of. Truma Sumaisros. Bidarish le'mikra. And they learned it out from some verse. Just like we learned out here, it says lachem in the verse, or michem, and so you know that it has to be from your own. So here also they learned out that it's usher, that it's forbidden to use matzah that hasn't been, to use wheat that hasn't been perfected with taking the different presents out of it to give to the Kohanim and the Leviim.
So don't only learn mitzvah b'aveira from karbanos?
No, so it says that we learn a positive, but wait a second, take it because of mitzvah b'aveira. The ka'achel yisura, because you're eating an izer, and you're acquiring your mitzvah. And those vos does not answer it. Answer this Gemara here of mitzvah b'aveira. He actually answers it on Daf Tes Amud Aleph Dibur Hamaschil Hahu.
Where did you see that?
In the Masorah Shas. It brings it. I don't know. It's not necessarily always. The Masorah Shas is not necessarily always the same on every Masechta, you know, like sometimes like they add them. But you have it, Mr. Shaz over there. It brings the Gemara and Tess, the Tosfos Tess, Amar Aleph, Dibur Mascha Hahu.
Like earlier.
It just says La'el by you?
No, Le'el Tess Amar Aleph.
Yeah.
Earlier on Tess Amar Aleph.
Yeah, so La'el means above this Masechta, right? La'el, earlier in this Masechta.
They love you.
Love, they call Mirchas of Shiras. Could I have a charger, please, for this yet?
Oh, yes.
Tuhush bechaza. So it says, oh, v'nechemaza. Okay. So we're jumping to Ahumi Baile, the Me'ute Gizula. Tesam
Oh, we're
Aleph.
really doing that whole operation. Who?
Yeah, let's see it. Hahu. You know, we're just like having Emunah and Hashem that will go to the right places, you know. Hahu. Yesterday, like also, see, unbelievable. We had that thing in Rashi with the Rabbah and so.
I was thinking about it all night.
Yeah, me too. It was unbelievable, but like we just kind of like won it.
You could be Mechazak's own Ruchnis with such a good.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah, it brings a smile to someone's face when they see such a beautiful genius in Rashi. See how deep
shows
this
you that
machshava.
we could be Bechadish Torahs and contribute to the Torah. It didn't stop at Rashi. Didn't stop at.
Yeah, it didn't start Rashi. Didn't start
It goes right into us.
Yeah.
We're partners with them in this.
Yeah.
endeavor Of clarifying the
Exactly.
intention of the mission.
Exactly. So here is the Gemara. It says, let's see the Mishnah on verse Sukkah Yeshena, an old Sukkah. Beis Shammai posel, Beis Shammai says puzzle, Beis Hillel machshir, and Beis Hillel says it's okay.
The sukkah that you leave up during the.
Yeah, like you left it
Around the
up
clock,
like
okay.
around the clock.
We
Yeah.
have one in the house here. The upstairs balcony is a sukkah.
Sukkah.
It's a kavua sukkah with schach. Oh,
So you're gonna put on a new schach?
It's like a rotating schach. We have to like rotate them or take them off, put them on.
Wow.
Well, let's learn. I don't. Maybe I'll do it.
Yeah. So Beis Hillel machshirin, the Ezo he Sukkah Yeshena. What is this old Sukkah? Kol she'asa'ah kodem l'chag shloshim yom. Everything that you made before the chag, 30 days before Yantiv. Aval im asa l'shem chag. But if you did it and you're saying, I'm going to make this for Sukkot, and you did it the day after Sukkot, and the whole year, but you're like, I'm doing this for next Sukkot, kosher. Okay. So the Gemara says, Gemara says a lot of things. We see at the bottom, 3 lines, 3 lines from the bottom. It says, Ahumi Baile, L'me'ute Gezula, to exclude a stolen one. So Hasamnami over there also is the Me'ute Gezula, to exclude a stolen one. Hazam Ksiv Krachrini V'asulahem Mishalahem. That it should be from, okay. Ein Ozen Sukkah B'cholo Shamar. I'm just trying to find like what this Tosfos is going. Why don't you see the Tosfos? Let's just see the Tosfos. So we're going into the Tosfos. Okay. I was trying to get like a little bit bearing inside the Gemara itself, but I don't think we need it yet.
Place, but if it's not the time, it's not the time.
Yeah, so figure out the place in the Gemara. Hahumi Baile L'me'ute Gezula. So this is coming to exclude a stolen one. We don't know what the context of the Gemara is really, but we're just going to see the Tosfos. Tema, the wonder. Tebugle Mishum Dahavale Mitzvah Abba Be'avera. Right? Why do we need a pasuk telling me, right, that you don't need Gezula, right? Hagazul goes Tazelecha Shivaz Yamim. Sukkah has to be made for the name of Chag. You can only make a Sukkah on Chomoy, Bezillah. So the Sukkah needs to be done Lishma, right? Tzitzis need to be done Lishma. Gedilim ta'aselecha. When it's talking about tzitzis, it says, make tzitzis, make it for yourself. So making it for yourself, lecha, it's in the 4th last line in the Gemara. Lecha l'shem chova. Rivka, we're on daf Tes Amud Aleph now. Lecha l'shem chovcha. You're doing it in order so that you can do your obligation of wearing tzitzis. Hachanami sukkis, it says taselecha. make a sukkah for yourself. L'shem chofcha, that you're making the sukkah, you're doing it l'shma. Right? You're making the sukkah l'shem sukkah. In the name of sukkah. Says the Gemara, no, we need that to tell me that you can't make a sukkah, you can't steal a sukkah, you can't steal schach. You know? You go over to someone's house, you see some nice schach, sukkah is coming up. You know, you go over, I don't know, I have to do this, I don't have to, like, just for example, you know, going over stealing schach, I go over to Harry's house, davening Rosh Hashanah, and I'm like, oh, we're making a sukkah, let me just take one of these guys, I'll throw it on my sukkah. Can't do it, because why? Because it says, schach ha-sukkos t'salachem. It says it has to be, mishalachem, it has to be your sukkah. Wait a second, says Tosfos. Take it because it's a mitzvah of veiter. You're doing a mitzvah right now of building the sukkah, making schach on the sukkah. But you're doing it out of an avera of stealing the schach. So it says, it's a wonder, a tema. A wonder, it's a pella. Unfathomable. Why they're telling me that you need this gezeres hakasav, you need this pasuk telling me you can't steal schach. Take it because mitzvah of avera. The mitzvah that's coming from an avera. The habale mitzvah of avera.
What's the avera?
Stealing
So
the schach.
what did they try to swap instead? What did they try to give us instead of mitzvah of avera?
They tried to tell us that there's a pasuk that says Chag HaSukkos T'Salachem. It says Elacha. It has to be yours.
Your schach?
It has to be your schach. The same chovcha. But
we're learning this
we're not going to be able to
about
learn it because we need it to tell me that you can't have a gezula. Right? We're coming to learn that it can't be stolen. But wait a second. They tell me that it can't be stolen. I don't need a pasuk. I don't need a pasuk in the Torah telling me that it can't be stolen. I know it can't be stolen. You know, I know because mitzvah of avera. It's a mitzvah that comes from the avera. This is the reason that we pasuled Lulav hagazul. But Tosfos says esrog, but do you have a dot? Do you have a note there? On the esrog?
So in esrog, you have a yud.
Yeah, I have a zayin. And it says Tzarech Lomar Lulav in the Masoras Hashas.
Tzarech lomar lulav, yes.
Nice, okay. So, but this is the reason that the Lulav hagazul is pasul. It's because mitzvah of avera, right? B'yom tov sheni, on the second day. On the first day, okay, we have a pasul. But on the second day, on the first day, why don't I just also on the first day say mitzvah of avera? Why do I even need a pasuk? I need a pasuk to teach me. That's what Tosfos. That's the last Tosfos. Tosfos says I need a pasuk to teach me that you can't borrow one. Really, we don't need it for stolen. Come on, right? The beginning of the paragraph. Ubeahi shemaita gufa. This learning itself, kasha is a kasha. The Ka'amar, like it says, Bishleim, I understand, Yom Tov Rishon, Ba'ina Lachem, Isha Lachem. We need the verse telling me, Lakachtam Lachem, you took the lulav for yourself, it has to be from you. It'll be Yom Tov Sheni, but in Yom Tov Sheni, Amai, why can't you use a lulav that you stole if you acquired, if you didn't acquire it, you don't need it to be from you. You could just take someone else's lulav and borrow a lulav. So, B'yom Tov Sheni L'kavad, it says, Amai Umashani, and they teach, Mishum Da'avalim et Avera. Because it is a mitzvah that comes from the Avera. Behashda, and now, Im Kain, if that's the case, Lama Lilachem Yishalachem, why do I need any pasuk telling me that, it has to be yours, and so you can't steal it, because it's not yours if you steal it, right? Before the guy was, I don't need it. It's a mitzvah of avera. Umihu, however, here's like maybe the beginning of an answer. Umihu hasam, a distinction. Over there, igal shinuya, we can learn. Oh, we just said this. I just spoke this out before we even started the Gemara.
Excluding
Borrowed. You don't really need it for stolen lulav ever. We need it for borrowed lulav.
We did the same thing over there. We said the same thing.
Yeah. Aval gabe sukkah, but by a sukkah, leka l'shinuye hacha. You cannot teach this. You cannot teach this by a sukkah. Only by a lulav does it stem to talk about. Not everyone has to have their own sukkah. Everyone has to have their own lulav. On the first day, at least, according to Rashi, at least. The Adam Yotzei Yidei Chovaso B'Sukkah Shachaver V'Navkalahu. And we learned that out. Kol Ezrach B'Yisrael Yeshvu B'Sukkos. Every member of Israel should sit in sukkah. As Melamed, we learned. Shekol Echad, Shekol Yisrael Ru'in Leishev B'Sukkah Achas. We can all sit in one sukkah.
You don't have to own the sukkah yourself.
You don't have to own the sukkah. B'Yesh Lomar.
So what's the whole lachem about? It just means to go to a sukkah?
It says, what does it say? It says, Chag HaSukkos Ta'aseh Lecha Shivas Yamim.
Doesn't mean you have to own it, just you have to
It has to be done l'shma. L'shem Chag Ba'inan. Chayr, let's see this taste. This is a hard taste, this is quoting a lot of things. And it's very beautiful to jump around and see a lot of different tastes, and when he's talking about the same sugya, because we see Tosfos talking about the same Gemaras from different perspectives. So it says, you can learn that because everyone can have their own sukkah. Wow. The reason for mitzvah b'avera is not a deraisa concept. It's a derabanan concept. Mitzvah b'avera. Well, we know that it's derabanan concept because we learned it from Pasuk and Malachi. Right? Talking about the korban. Comparing the stolen korban to the korban with a mum. So we see from there, that's what we learn out mitzvah b'avera from this Pasuk and Malachi. Malachi, he was a prophet, but guess what? He wasn't an Eibishter. And so it's only Derabanan what he says. Even though he was saying prophecy, still it's not there, right? It's not the Eibishter talking, it's not Nevuas Moshe. Umiyu, however, Kasha, here's the question. Miperek HaNizakim, from the Perek of Nizakim, the fifth Perek in Gittin, right? Gabe Chatas Gezula, Shalom no da'al l'rabim. So there was a stolen animal that was brought as a chat. That's what no one knew. The Amar Ula in the Gemara says, Bain no da, Bain lo no da. Whether it is known to us, whether it is not known to us, Eina mechaperes. It does not come and atone the stolen korban. My daima. What's the reason that it's not mechaperes? The yesh kedi lo kani. So this is the types of yesh. We're going so deep into these concepts. Yesh kedi is not enough to. What is yesh kedi?
Yesh on an animal?
Like bichdi, like it's just like yesh. Like I just don't know where it is. Okay, fine. Like
I thought bichdi was like a goat, like a little sheep. Like
no, it's a kedi.
Yeah, kedi.
Bichdi is like bichdi. It's not Kani.
What does he mean? Yesh is not Kona. So Yesh is Kona.
Not Yesh Kedi.
What's Yesh Kedi? That's it.
Kedi Bichdi means like it seems to be that like it's maybe he didn't even know. Like we assume that he was Yesh when he would find out he was going to be Yesh, but right now he doesn't even know. So it's like that Yesh. We're like he's gonna give up hope. Obviously, it was stolen. What's he gonna do? But it could be not kind. What to see? See that Gemara and get to see all these Gemaras. It's hard to see those without seeing the other Gemaras. But we're doing our best, and we're getting what we can get. And who knows? Who knows? Like what the Derech Halima when we're going to see Tosfos and we're going to see Sugyas. Again.
Can we get it unblemished?
Unblemished. Emir Hashem. Emir Hashem, no blemish in this taste. It's not possible. V'shamina leila ula the yesh kedi kani. But we see from Ula it says that no yesh kedi kani. We have to see what exactly that so is gabe orosh shel balabayis v'gun of Goslin. So the balabayis, he had a bunch of leather, right? And someone stole them. The Omer Rabbeinu Tam says the time the Ula begittin. The reason for Ula and the Gemara and Gittin over there, Mishum the mitzvah of Avera. Ula says the reason is because it's the mitzvah of Avera. Alma, we see that mitzvah of Avera is actually the Oraisa.
This is on Chatas?
What?
This is on a carbon Chata? Like, why?
The reason that the korban, because listen, you're bringing a korban de Oraisa now, you know, and to say that, right, to say that it's not going to be mechaper, that the korban, Hashem says you bring a korban and it brings atonement, and you're going to say that you steal a korban is not going to bring, you steal an animal, is not going to be a kapara. It must be that it has implications even on a de Oraisa level, implying that it must be a de Oraisa concept, the mitzvah of Avera. Umiu b'lav achi lo yitachem. Without this, it's not possible. The Habedja ka'amar Ula. Ula explicitly says, Mishum di yesh lo kani. Because yesh did not make the kinyan. The giving of hope does not make a kinyan. The old Barak Maruba.
Oh, they could do? Other times in the dark?
We have to see these Gemaras inside. We're just getting, so.
I'm saying seemingly, but yeah.
Seemingly we're talking about Yesh Kedi. Now he says Yesh, like in general, is not Kona. So, like, what's, a lot of times, you guys see Tosfos many times before you understand it, even see the Gemara, the Tosfos quotes. But this is the first time going through Tosfos, is doing our best. The Oda Barak Maruba, it says in Barak Maruba, Darish Rava Behedja. Rava explicitly says, he darshans, that Yesh is not Kona. Midichsiv korbano below hagazul. Right?
If Yesh was koina, it would be a carbon. You couldn't give the carbon.
Right. It says it's korban, and they imply that it's not the stolen korban. Why didn't they use the pasuk from Malachi that we saw? That it compares the mum to the stolen one. I don't know. The yesh is not kona, that you can't bring. I don't know. Elanira de'ahud hagozel basra. That in this parak, gozel basra in Bava Kama. Love yesh kedihu. So we're talking about a special type of yesh, of giving up hope. It's yesh kedihu. Let's see what that is. The Ika Yesh Vishinoi Hashem. Yesh Kedi maybe is only Yesh. The Yesh Kedi is that all he did was give up hope. That's not enough to transfer ownership. But if there's Yesh, he gives up hope, and Shinoi Shem, he changes the name, or like we saw yesterday,
The one who took
the guy who took it. Or we saw the Shinoi Maisa, right? They're talking about that if the non-Jew stole land, you should have the non-Jew pick it, because then it's the shinoi, right? It was like land, and now it's like a fruit or a lulav, and so it changed its name, right? Or it changed what it was. That's the shinoi, right?
Say it again. You change the name and then it's kosher.
Well, not necessarily kosher, but to acquire something, it's not enough just that the guy gives up hope to ever get it back.
Right.
But also, you have to also like affect a change on the thing, right? For example, you steal wheat and you grind it up and you bake it, so now you change it from wheat to bread. So now maybe you acquired it, but you still can't do matzah with it. Why not?
Because you didn't tie it.
Because the mitzvah that comes from the veiter. Like it says in Maruba, the meikar karile mishcha, the hajda karile avarza. So whatever the case is, they used to call it this, now they call it that. We used to call it wheat, now we call it bread, right? It's a shinoi shem. The aval gav, and even though the gav a korban, they're talking about the korban nami ika shinoi Hashem, right? Wait a second, you say that there was a shinoi Hashem by the korban also, right? You stole the animal and you changed his name. The animal's first his name was was chulin, and that was David's kachim. Completely different. The meikara, the beginning, chul. I did not know that I was going to say that. Meikara at the beginning it's chulin, and now it's hekdesh. Mikom makom, in any event, mimayit, it excluded me to give korbano, that it says your korban. So we couldn't use mitzvah of avera to tell you that the korban is no good. Why? Because it had shinoi ba'alem when you stole it, and shinoi hashem when you were makdish it. And so you already acquired it. And so if it says you have to bring a korban from Milachem, great, this is my korban. I acquired it with shinoi hashem and shinoi ba'alem. But it says korbano. Kevan the kodem hekdesh lav shalo. Since before the hekdesh it wasn't his because he didn't acquire it with a change of owners and change of name. Avagav, right? It's not avagav the chalav hekdesh mach mashino hashem. That hekdesh, it does work to make it hekdesh. The azi hashta lo chazi lakrava, but now you have something that's hekdesh, but you can't bring it. Because you needed to be korban, no, it needs to be his korban at the time that you're makdish it. And this,
At the time
that you sanctified it, that you made it from a weekday to a holy, from a mundane animal to a holy korban. You needed it to be yours before you made it into a korban. And this only became yours after you made it into a korban. Because the act of making it into a korban changed its name and allowed you to actually acquire it. But since it wasn't yours before you made it into a korban, you can't bring it as a korban. Okay, that's a more mitzvah of Avera Sugya. We do have a Gemara that we said we were going to see in Brachos. I would be down to just see that Tosfos. At least see how big it is. Maybe we'll see it tomorrow. We'll go weiter in the Sugya mitzvah of Avera. It's Brachos 47:2. Now, I mean, I don't like to look in these English Gemaras at all, even to look into them.
Damn those articles.
Yeah, I mean, it's good for some people. Listen, Zalman, you can come to shiur with an art scroll. You're allowed to. You're
The
allowed
guy who
to.
lives in Kentucky and doesn't have a rabbi in his neighborhood.
Right. No, someone who didn't learn how to learn Gemara when they were like a kid and then they don't speak Hebrew. You know, my grandfather also, like, you know. But someone who does speak Hebrew should really learn how to learn. I think the Zalman, that'll be an amazing thing, and I think you can do it. But, like, I understand, you know, if you want to learn an art scroll and, like, see it inside the English, we should bring the Zalman and art scroll, like tomorrow, like the art scroll sukkah.
Yeah.
Well, isn't it more
We have it here.
to understand the concept
Oh, we have it right there.
than to just repeat the words?
Well, it's not about repeating the words, but learning how to learn.
Okay.
Okay. And to learn how to learn how to get the information out of the Gemara. You can't do that with the art scroll. You're not going to learn how to learn. You're just going to learn what it says. Okay, we just want to see one Tosfos over here. And there's no Tosfos on art scroll anyways. So I guess I can look in this art scroll for Tosfos over here. Mem Zayid Amud Beis. Brachos, Mem Zayid Amud Beis. It's the Tosfos. It doesn't even say what Dibur Baschel it is. But this is the Tosfos. This is Nafik Yidei Matzah. All right, so they're saying a Tosfos here, talking about mitzvah of Avera by eating matzah, but they don't quote which Tosfos it is. And so we don't have to see a Tosfos here. There are Tosfos in that are actually quoted by. Out of here, I'm kidding. There are Tosfos that are actually quoted by Tosfos that we can see it inside. You know, I don't want to see another Tosfos yet. And shiur is basically over, but I want to do one thing for the end of shiur, just to kind of give us what we do when we're learning. Like, what do we do? What are we supposed to do when we're learning? And we see Tosfos, and Tosfos is giving us some problems. We saw another Tosfos that was quoted. And Tosfos also is a little difficult. Let's see the Maharsha. The Maharsha explains a lot of, like, the takes this in and goes into it. We have a Maharsha in this Tosfos. It's a short one. So we're going to end here with the Maharsha. You want to look inside with me?
Yeah.
Okay.
My Gemara is like one of those compilations.
Yeah. So the Maharsha at the end, they don't have it in every. So it says Tosfos. Dibra Maschem Mishum David Mitzvah Bavera. The Im Tomar. L'Koman Paslina Lulav Shalasher. The reason we said, right? This is. Oh no, I don't know where this was even. Here, I think I put it here so we would see it. Maybe it's from somewhere completely different. But remember that taste isn't the vomit that we saw. Tosfos da vomit, this one. So Tosfos says, if you're going to say, wait a second, V'im Tomar, and if you're going to say the reason we said the lulav of Asherah is possible because it doesn't have a shear, why don't we say the reason the lulav of the Asherah, the idolatry, the lulav that was worshipped for idolatry is possible? Because it doesn't have a. Why you tell me that the reason is because it doesn't have the measurement, the shear. Umiyu, however, Tema, we have the question, it's still quoting Tosfos, Barak Kol Shah, this Barak Tanya, it says in Breza, Ein Yod say Yedei Matzah B'Tevel. It's the end of, right? That you can't acquire the matzah with Devel.
Give my son true.
Right, so, like, Ad Kalashar, okay, that's Tosfos. But Tzarech Ian, this is the Maharsha's question on Tosfos. By the way, the Maharsha's name was Shmuel. But Tzarech Ian, Adikashya Lahu Lulav Shel Asherah. Wait, before Tosfos is going to come and ask the question of, a lulav from the Asherah, the come on later, umi matzah, and he's asking the question from matzah from a different parak b'chlal. Amaylo tekshilu umi sukkah gezula. Why didn't he ask from the sukkah, from that parak that we saw, from the Tosfos that we saw in Daf Tes? Unbelievable. I didn't know he was going to quote this Gemara on Daf Tes. And just yesterday, I didn't know that the Ravid was going to bring that Gemara with Rabbi Yehuda was going to answer for us Rashi. It was just going and he was going to see the Shmaya. So, why didn't they ask from the Sukkah Gezula Le'el Daf Tes B'Sof Perek Ayash right? They're about on the She'ula Kishera Ugezula B'Sul, that the Sukkah that's borrowed is kosher, but the Sukkah that's stolen is possible, right? You go to your house, oh, it's a nice branch. Midichsiv L'cha. From the fact that it says, right, Sukkos Taseh L'cha, do for you Sukkah, oh, the Sukkah's got to be L'cha, it's got to be yours. Or we said that L'cha is that it's got to be L'shma. V'kvar Hukshu Sham Tosfos, we already saw that Tosfos, Parakama. V'im Nichalu Hacha Misukkah Gezula. But what about Tosfos over here? Why didn't Tosfos over here ask from that Tosfos over there, from that Gemara over there by the Sukkah? Why did they come and ask from matzah and from lulav of Asherah? Hacha Misukkah Gezula. Ketirutzam Sham, like the answer, like they're supposed to answer over there. The Isura, the mitzvah of Avera, Eina Ela Miderabana, that the mitzvah of Avera is only Miderabanan. Imkain, Kashyasa Milulav de Asherah, Umimatza, Na Minicha. So then it would make sense why they would ask for, like, they would ask on a Derabanan level from Sukkah of Asherah and Sukkah of Lulav of Asherah and from Matzah, but not from Sukkah. I did not understand this Maharsha, and that's how we're going to end here. With the Kasha on the Maharsha, we should be Zochah to see this Maharsha, maybe do a little Chazara.
But you said that the sukkah can be a communal chap, and the matzah and the lulav have to be personal.
So that's why we took from those answers. Yeah, what does that have to do with Derabanan, Deraisa? But I hear what you're saying. Okay, before we end here, we're going to do a taste of Schligg's juice.
One sip, everyone knows the rules.
One sip, everyone knows the rules.
We're checking for
Yo, Rivka, come in for one sip. One sip then suck. One sip then Masechet Sukkah.
Is shiur officially done?
Shiur is officially done.
I have a shiur. I seem to remember there were these trees. I need a chazera. There were these trees that were previously worshipped by idol worshippers, and then we put a box around them, and then we honored our king by passing through that.
Ha ha! Interessant.
Is that
I don't know. I didn't understand.
you
I didn't
don't
understand.
remember that? No.
I don't know. I didn't understand the words. Sorry, I wasn't. I need chazar.
Yeah.
Baruch Adar Maglam Shakol Ne'avrai.
Amen.
We should be zeichen the shleigs, comes and shacks with us. Hello.
Whoa. Amen.
Amen.
What a palate cleanser.
Yeah.
He's on point.
Okay. Shkaya, everyone.
Now that's juice you cannot buy at the store.